do have one thing I want to talk about.
Oh, all right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the how many members are in the Galactic Alliance?
Ours?
Yeah.
How many members as in how many civilizations?
Yes.
452 at present.
452. And we're going to be the next
No.
inclusion into that?
No.
One of the next ones coming up?
One of the next ones, yes.
Okay.
There will be many more between now and the time you become an actual member.
Ah, I see. And are most of those societies like ours or like yours? Are they like, can you describe them?
We have described some of them from time to time. What would you like us to describe about them?
I don't know. Their physical forms, their likes
All
and
right.
dislikes.
All right.
Or maybe actually, here's one question. What brings them all together? What is the common goal?
A perspective that all things are one, and a valuation of the differences that reflect to them all the ways that all that is can be. And an understanding of the synchronicity that results from that, and the expansion of awareness that results from interacting with all those other aspects.
I like that.
So do we.
Good. Okay.
Now, we are not saying that there are not different levels of understanding and different levels of expression even within the Alliance. There are members that, because they themselves have a relatively unified society, are simply curious to join the Alliance to see what effect it may have on them to do so. And they may have no other motivation than that. But at least in their own context, they are among themselves unified.
So it's really a group of people that have self-respect, self-love, and self-understanding that they are the one and the one is them.
Yes, and the appreciation of the difference that they are from all the other differences.
Okay.
And the difference that everyone else is from them.
Wow.
Now, there are beings, of course, that are somewhat similar to humans, but that's only about 15% of all the beings we have ever encountered.
Wow.
Most of the ones that are similar to humans in the sense that they have the two arms, the two legs, the head with the two eyes, are actually, for the most part, actually genetically related to you. Or, I'll be more precise, you are genetically related to them. Thereafter that 15%, most of the ones are not in any way, shape, or form what you would recognize as human.
Are they still corporeal?
Most of them. There are a few in the Alliance who have the ability not to be.
As your society is getting into, right?
Yes.
I see.
But most of them have at least what you would recognize as the ability to project a corporeal aspect of some sort that most members can relate to. But for some, that's just a projection of convenience.
Wow, I just find that whole thing very fascinating.
Yes.
Very fascinating.
Now, one moment. One moment. We are filtering requests. One moment. Imagine, if you will, or if you can, that you have 4 legs, not 2, and that you are basically, to what you would consider to be now, upside down and backwards. In that your torso is hanging from the legs, not standing on top of them.
I see.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Now, imagine, if you will, that this being can move in any direction it wishes because its vision is 360 degrees. Do you understand?
Yeah.
One moment. Imagine, if you will, off of each of the 4 legs are also an extension that are manipulators, or what you would call hands, although they look nothing like yours. Which means the being can move in any direction it wishes to and still achieve the same degree of manipulation in its reality. In that sense, these beings have never developed the concept exactly that you recognize as quadrants, or north-south, east and west. To them, it's all the same and based on the idea of radial patterns that only expand uniformly.
Wow.
Or contract uniformly. They do not have the same kind of sense of direction that you do.
Wow, I get it. Cool.
A very, 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 very loose vibrational translation of what they call themselves would be the freen.
Say that again.
Freen.
Zenite.
Thank you. One moment. We have to explain your joke to them. They don't get it.
Well, tell them there's no offense.
No offense taken, they just don't get it.
Okay.
They do not have the mechanisms that you have that cause sneezing.
Okay.
Once, twice, or 3 times a day, depending upon the philosophy that is held in the society, all of their vacuoles open and a strong, stiff breeze is created to blow through them to clean their systems out. They do not sneeze as such, but they have 1, 2, or 3 blows a day. They understand it to that degree, but not the explosive nature, since they completely control the passage of the air through those vacuoles through a system of muscular diaphragms.
See, I've been trying to do that myself, and I can't get any control of passing my air. So. It's a challenge.
All right. One moment.
You got to try to explain that one to them.
I'm not even going to attempt it.
I'm just playing around.
I know that. They are a little bit confused,
Yeah,
but that's all right.
understand.
They simply understand that they have to chalk it up to the differences between us and are fascinated to some degree as they can understand it by what you are saying and realize through the images we are imparting to them telepathically that you look, of course, very different than they do. And actually they are wondering how you can even stand up.
I wonder that myself.
It's not that they have not encountered other bipedal forms, but because they are so innately four-legged, it always seems a little bit mysterious to them and curious to them that something can actually balance on two. And so they wonder at that. And it is part of their appreciation of the differences.
Now tell me this, for that creature to be that type of creature,
Yes.
it had to start from some level of consciousness first, right? Just like we started from a level of consciousness that then produced a bipedal being.
Well, if you mean it that way, yes. Although remember that on the spirit level, we're all the same kind of consciousness, choosing to experience incarnations in a variety of forms. But as you mean the consciousness of the material evolutionary world itself, yes, there were what you would call primary forms before the form that is now in existence.
I see. Okay, and that primary form is the same for all species throughout the entire universe?
No. I am saying that in their environment, there was an initial form that actually had 8 legs and over time evolved into that which has 4 and has grown larger in its domain and has become, in your terms, capable of supporting incarnational spirit and expressing intelligence in a way that you would recognize as a civilization.
Okay. Well, it's true that everything starts from consciousness first, right?
Well, everything is consciousness. Of course, on that context, yes. If you want to call that the primal form, then yes. Everything starts from the same primal consciousness. But it doesn't really express itself as one form, per se. It's formless.
Right. Okay. And
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then it can choose the form that it wants to manifest.
Yes, and it chooses all forms. The primal consciousness chooses all forms that it can choose.
There's no limitation to it. It's
correct.
infinite. You know, that's the one thing that I was getting from your talk earlier, that we are ungodly unlimited. And it's so...
Ungodly?
Well, I mean, you know what I mean. And it's so interesting that we've really boxed ourselves into this quote-unquote corner of humanity.
Yes.
When we are so much bigger
Yes.
than...
That's
It's amazing.
the mystery of it and the fascination of it and the beauty of it and the power of it is that you can do that being such unlimited beings. That's why you are so fascinating to so many species.
Wow. Because
That's
of our
why we
degree
call you the
limitation.
masters of limitation.
Yeah, I've heard you say that several times. It's like a
There are
cartoon.
not many civilizations we have encountered that have imposed the same degree of limitations upon their experience of life. And this to us is a form of mastery.
Because the default behavior is to not be like that. Is that
In a
what you mean?
sense, you could call it the default behavior, yes.
Interesting.
The default state of being is to be unlimited, but also at the same time to experience absolute limitation as well. That's the polarity, and everything in between. But as you meant it, yes. Recognizing that puts you in a state of higher awareness, yes.
Wow. Cool.
Whatever temperature you want.
Explain that to them.
They understand temperature.
Oh, okay.
You mean the slang?
Yeah.
One moment. They actually have something similar. That's not foreign to them. They understand that a decrease in temperature usually causes things to slow down in motion. So they actually have in their language something similar to the idea of chill out.
Wow. Cool.
All right.
I didn't mean that. I meant that. Just kidding around. Okay. And I guess one other quick thing.
Yes.
I was talking to Jill earlier, and she and I have the same interesting experience where we're both experiencing some pretty deep lows and some pretty amazing highs as well.
Yes.
And I don't know where I'm going with it, but I guess just
Probably generally upward.
I sure hope so.
You can know so. You don't have to hope so. If you are implying uncertainty in that statement.
I was, but especially after yesterday and today, I'm getting more of a picture of
All right.
defining my own certainty
All right.
and building my own certainty and making my own certainty.
Thank you.
And I'm not there yet, but I will be.
You are where you are.
Right. Right. So this has been a very interesting seminar so far. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
I will.
Oh, yeah, actually, sorry, one other thing. Thank you very much. I am very fascinated by the Institute of Applied Metaphysics and the acronym.
I am.
I am. There's no accident there, is there? Okay, I know you guys. Of course there's no accident. That's so cool. Any comments about that? Anything you want to add that you haven't said so far earlier? Because I'm just fascinated by us being able to do practical, everyday things to really get it in our skulls and our brains to become more who we really are. And in fact, you did that.
There will
earlier with
be
expert
basically
experience.
2 mandates for the Institute of Applied Metaphysics. Number 1 will be to explore all of the ancient metaphysical ideas and extract from them knowledge that can actually be applied in a variety of disciplines on your planet in very practical ways to expand your level of understanding, technology, medicine, and what have you. The second mandate is to provide the idea of general knowledge itself and explore and experience the expansion of yourselves through a variety of learning techniques and access to a variety of archives of knowledge. Generally and briefly, the 2 mandates are the idea that there is information within metaphysical knowledge, both present and ancient, that can actually be literally physically applied to technologies and various disciplines on your planets to expand their understanding and actually create products that will be representative of expansion of awareness on your planet. Number 2 is simply the learning aspect, where it will function like a curriculum in a school to allow individuals to improve their own understanding of metaphysical concepts at whatever rate they are comfortable doing so. You are welcome.
I am so blown away by that because
Blown away where?
because I'm working on various projects and inventions now that have that exact idea in mind, to use basically to mix art and technology and spirituality to help people evolve themselves.
And I suppose that's not an accident
well,
either.
I'm just being blown away. It's just
Well, thank you.
I mean, I'm hearing these reflections, and it's so amazing.
Yes. Well, I wasn't being facetious.
I know.
I was playing with you.
I know. Wow.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Bashar. Thank you very much. Have a good time. We'll see you soon.
I do.
All right. We love you.
Our love to you as well.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Good. I talked with you a few months ago about my abnormal cells in my part of my body.
Yes.
And you said it was mostly the toxin that I had in my body. So, you told me, suggested that I do all the 3 cleanses, colon.
It is one of the strongest things most of you can do with any kind of buildup in the body.
Yeah, and then also you suggested the aloe.
Yes.
And I tried that, and I was eating organic and vegetarian and tried that, and then for a few months, and then finally last week I went back to the doctor, and I couldn't reverse it.
All right.
And so I had to kind of do the procedure.
All
then,
right.
And I wanted to. My question is, why? Why? What was
It is always best to allow yourself the opportunity to see if your belief systems will allow you to do the most natural thing. If that doesn't work, then there's an indication that your belief systems are telling you that this is a process you need to go through in a different way, because it's going to put you in touch with what you need to be put in touch with by going through the process that way.
Right, and you also.
So the question to ask is, in then going through the procedure, what came up for you?
I was actually very busy trying to get the supplements in time, and I was busy working 2 jobs, and
Yes. But what we are asking is, how did you feel?
I was feeling I had to take charge. I have to in control of my body.
Take charge.
Yeah, I
All
had
right.
to. I need to do this.
All right.
In order for me to heal.
All right.
But then also I felt like I was trying to push it away.
All
instead
right.
of embracing it.
All right, very good.
And,
So that revealed something about yourself that you can now deal with.
Yeah, and I tried to. Well, I actually want to know more about that, because I tried to find a belief system that wasn't working for me, so so that I can let go and heal.
Yes.
And I couldn't really do that. Maybe anger, maybe not unforgiving, unforgiveness.
All right, well, since you are coming up with these concepts, what is it that you are still angry or unforgiving about? What has happened in your life that you find difficult to let go of in terms of anger and forgiveness?
What happened?
Yes.
Well, what happened? I guess the big incident was I was threatened about me living here, and
Threatened in what way?
like legality of my status
All
in the
right.
United States, and
So in that sense, some part of you is still holding on to the idea that you don't belong?
yeah, that's true.
All right.
Yeah,
So you are dealing with that idea of, in some sense, being a foreign object
right.
in a body that wants to get rid of you.
Say that again.
You are acting or believing that you are a foreign object in a body that doesn't want you, that won't accept you. And so you are, in that sense, mirroring it by creating a foreign object in your own body. And thus, by accepting and embracing and going through it and not rejecting, you can then also see that it is a mirror of what you are going through macroscopically in your reality.
What does that mean? Like
On the larger scale in your life.
Should I?
It is about
accept it?
learning
Yeah.
why you feel rejected even though someone may reject you.
Why do I feel rejected?
In other words, you don't have to feel rejected just because someone may reject you.
Right.
And if you are going through anger at made to be feeling like you don't belong, you are accepting. You are accepting that belief of rejection upon yourself. You're accepting the judgment. And it's about learning that it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with their issues, not yours. And not taking it upon yourself and letting it insist itself within you.
Let it insist.
It's concentrating within you and materializing within you. You understand?
So that's the reason you think the reason why I got this?
That is the most obvious reflection. There may be other things peripherally tied to it. But since you brought up the idea of anger and forgiveness at being rejected, it is a metaphor for that idea. You are creating something within your own body that is mirroring the way you feel, like a foreign object in another body.
So by trying to remove that abnormal cells, what was I doing?
It is all right for you to physically do that, but the idea is to also get the point of why it was there. And the point of why it was there is to allow you to understand that you don't necessarily have to be extracted in the same way if you understand the dynamic of consciousness that's going on that created it. That you feel yourself like a foreign object and allow yourself to stop feeling that way.
How
To allow
do you do
yourself to
that?
know that you belong wherever you say you belong. Wherever you believe you need to be is where you belong. And just because other people might make you feel like you don't, doesn't mean you have to believe that. And treat yourself with the same disrespect.
Right, that's true.
And thus don't have to be angry about it. You understand? The
Yeah.
anger will build up in that way materially in your body so that it causes blockages and will allow your body not to flow and will allow certain things to build up that then can be removed one way or another. It's not really about how it is that you allow that to go away. It's about what you learn from why it was there to begin with and how it mirrors what you may be going through in your physical life.
And how can I let that go?
I just told you. You need to start understanding what it is within you that allows you to accept so easily the judgment of others upon you.
I do that all the time.
Yes, I know.
And I create it too.
Yes.
Why
So
did I
you
do
need to
that?
practice not doing that. You need to allow yourself to understand who you really are so that you can recognize when something has to do with you and when it doesn't. And when it doesn't have to do with you, don't react to it. It's all about discernment. It's all about recognition of the true self. And only responding in a positive way to what's going on in your life instead of reacting in a negative way and taking upon that energy in some kind of self-judgmental fashion.
Right, I do that all the time. And
I
I want to
know.
shift. I want
Go ahead.
And just by, you mean like by really focusing on who I truly am?
Yes,
I can shift?
because when you know who you truly are, you will know what is and isn't relevant to you. And if someone comes up to you and says something that you know has really nothing to do with you, then you will not react to it.
However, though, I think I'm from the culture where, you know,
Yes.
let's say my hair is red.
Yes.
Somebody says, you know, my hair is black, you know, but somebody says, if somebody is really, you know, confident and if she or he tells me that my hair is red, and I
Yes.
say, oh, yeah, probably my hair is red. You know, that's how I
I
grew
know,
up.
that's what I'm talking about. All of you are brought up with different belief systems, and you have to get to the point where you realize exactly which belief systems you've been brought up with work for you and which don't, and to let the ones go that don't.
Yeah.
So ancestral belief systems aren't any more powerful than any other belief system. She's
No,
Japanese,
although you
so-
can make them seem as if they are with a belief system that ancestral beliefs are more powerful than any other kind, and many of you do. Many of you make certain kinds of beliefs seem more powerful than other ones. They're all equal. They're not any more powerful than any other belief, but you can have a belief that they are, which makes them experience as if they are.
Yeah.
So if someone says, well, an entire society telling me this is way more difficult to change than just one person, well, then that's what makes it more difficult, is that belief. And of course, because all beliefs are self-perpetuating and self-fulfilling, a society that holds that belief to be true will obviously want to make sure you learn that belief too in order to perpetuate that belief. That the society's beliefs are more powerful and more overriding than your own.
So I can change that belief.
Of course you
Yeah.
can.
Okay.
And in fact, just by talking about it, you have. If you believe it.
Right. Right.
Make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. And I have one more question.
Yes.
So what is toxic? Like we talk, Kevin and I talk about sugar. Is sugar toxic?
Not generally, but it depends upon the form in which it comes and how it is processed and whether toxins have been used in the manufacturing process. Also, perhaps, the idea of too much of something can be toxic, even though it may not generally be so.
Okay. So
Because if you overload a system,
Yeah.
then obviously the system will collapse. Even if what you are putting through it normally is the same substance, as long as the correct amount for that system is going through, it will be fine. But if you overload it, obviously in some senses, it will not survive.
right, like refined sugar, is that bad for us?
It depends upon the refinement process. If you're talking about the idea of a relatively natural refinement process, it is probably fine in moderate amounts. If you're talking about some sort of artificial process that introduces toxins in the refinement process, then probably you are receiving toxins.
Okay.
Again, this is simply common sense.
I didn't know.
M and M's. Yes. Well, a few M&Ms are probably fine. 10,000 might be overloading the system. Again, the idea is that generally speaking, even in a relatively toxic planet such as yours, things in relative moderation will probably be generally all right for you as long as you keep yourself cleansed and detoxified. Do the best you can within that system and do things in moderation that way.
Yeah.
The idea, of course, is that if you overdo it, there's an issue there and a belief system that needs to be addressed as to why you would do that, because there is no other reason why you need to, unless there's an issue that says you must. Because if you are simply regulating yourself naturally, you will find that your body consciousness will know what it needs at any given moment, and you will ingest exactly just so much of that and no more, because it will feel unnatural to do so. To some degree. Because you must understand that the channel before you is my past self. And the channel before you, at one point in his life, was told about the effects of too much sugar. And in surpassing a certain amount, developed an allergic reaction to it. And can now no longer consume it without painful consequences. And so, in a sense, yes, from experience. Although it wasn't M&M's.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you. One moment. What is your time frame?
It's 3 o'clock. It would be a good time for a 15-minute break.
Then we shall take one and resume transmission in 15 of your minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.